All right, welcome back to Exhaust Sports Auto. You are here to witness the 2016 Acura TLX. This is the V6 model, and I believe it is the advanced package because it does have all the little safety features like the lane keep assist, parking sensors, and even radar cruise control. So there is that. We'll talk about that a little bit later on. But I am once again back here at Cary Imports to do this video. So if you're interested in purchasing this car, it does have about 104,000 miles on it. So there you go. And it's not in perfect condition. You know, it's got a little dent on the side of the driver's side door. Every wheel on it is curbed. There's some interior mischiefs going on here as well. But to be honest, it's not terrible in the interior. It's just the wheels mainly. They're all just kind of curbed up. But outside of that, I don't know what it's actually going to be selling for. I didn't ask them for the price, but I'll probably put it in the description box or something if I do find out. But anyway, I really wanted to check out a V6 TLX because it's getting a little bit difficult for me to find cars to review for you guys because I've just driven so many new and used vehicles. There's not too many interesting used cars out there for me to test drive for you because it's so difficult for dealerships to get a hold of used cars right now. But my family used to own a certified pre-owned 2016 four-cylinder base model, and it was just the front-wheel drive, so it had the pause system, which means it had like the four-wheel steering function. I actually really like that system, but in all honesty, I think that the super handling all-wheel drive like this model has is kind of the way to go because Acura's all-wheel drive system is truly astounding. It does a great job sending power where it needs to, and I just think the TLX is an amazing value proposition in the used car market. Even till this day, you know, you buy this thing with a warranty because, you know, obviously it's got 100K miles on it. Cary Imports will sell you a warranty, and this has the 9-speed ZF. So it's been a while since I've driven a 6-cylinder TLX with this 9-speed automatic because the last one I drove, it was back in 2018, so about 4 years ago. It was a TLX A-Spec V6. It was amazing. I remember that engine. It had an amazing induction tone to it. This one doesn't really have that, but we will get on that throttle pedal here in a little bit and test that out for you guys. But yeah, I really appreciated that TLX, the A-Spec model, but I kind of forgot my opinions on that 9-speed ZF. So I'll be sure to put in the different modes and play with the paddle shifters and all that good stuff to see if any of those complaints are warranted. I'm in the normal mode right now. I've always just liked the nimble feeling of driving these Acura products. Yeah, this 3.5 liter V6, it is pretty epic. It does produce 290 horsepower, 267 pounds-feet of torque. You will have to use premium fuel, I do believe, to get those power figures. A lot of people do put regular fuel in these cars, but the Acura manual does say you have to use premium fuel, which kind of sucks since fuel is so expensive right now. But anyway, yeah, as I got on the throttle there, there's definitely a lag with this 9-speed ZF, and it doesn't sound anywhere near as good as that A-Spec. What they did for that A-Spec, I think they had an induction tube similar to what Lexus does to feed in that induction noise when you floor it. So this one doesn't have that. Very unfortunate, but hey, at least it's a smooth, progressive V6 engine. It's still a treat to drive this, and I love the dynamics of it and how neutral it is. A lot of people, they write these Acura products off as being nowhere near as good as like the BMWs, the Audis, whatever, but to be honest, this has a lot more character, soul. The Euro cars aren't bad, but this just has a very unique quality feel to it that I really appreciate. It just feels very light on its toes. That's another thing compared to something like a Lexus GS 350. This feels a lot more lighter on its toes. There's not many vehicles that feel like this Acura product. That's why I've always liked the TLX and also the RLX for that matter. These are pretty sizable vehicles. This particular car is 190 inches long and it weighs around 3,700 pounds with the super handling all-wheel drive. That's not a bad weight figure considering the size and the all-wheel drive and the larger V6 engine. Actually, I'll put in the sport mode here in a little bit. There's actually a sport plus mode. I'll put in that. When you get up there in the RPMs, like past 5,000, you hear that VTEC kind of switch over. That is pretty cool. It is noticeable, but it was so much better in that A-Spec. It was just more audible. It's not super quick or anything. Like the vehicle itself, it's not like super fast, but it's more than enough for daily driving. Honestly, this isn't even much quicker than the 4-cylinder model. It's a little bit quicker, but not by a whole lot. And this transmission truly is slower to react, which is so unfortunate because the dual clutch that they use in that 4-cylinder is so freaking good. It is so satisfactory to use the paddles in that car. In this, it's just not as crispy as that dual clutch in the 4-cylinder. But obviously, because this is the V6, it's definitely a lot smoother. It sounds a little bit better than that 4-cylinder. If you can find one, of course, it's great to have, but you won't be dissatisfied with the 4-cylinder. Even with the front-wheel drive, I like the pause, kind of all-wheel steering. This V6 super handling all-wheel drive, it's just going to hold better resale value because this is kind of what everybody wants. Yeah, but everything else I've always liked about the TLX, it's all here. I like the kind of lightweight steering. It's direct, but it's kind of light. Ride quality is supreme in this. It's got a strut-based suspension up front and a multi-link in the rear. Again, it's not as great as a double wishbone setup. The new TLX does utilize a double wishbone, but honestly, this still handles fantastic, even with the strut-based suspension up front. Yeah, this 9-speed is pretty lackluster, but I think they tuned it a lot better in the A-Spec model. So I'm driving around in the Sport Plus right now, and the reason why I don't like driving in sport modes for the majority of vehicles on the street is because it just kind of hovers around 3,000 RPM even when I'm doing like 45 miles an hour, and that's just very wasteful on fuel, especially nowadays. I just like to drive around in the normal mode, but no matter what mode you're in, it's not very like quick to respond, if that makes sense. The handling is definitely the highlight here, and it never beats you up either. This is such a comfortable vehicle. The seats are super comfortable. Just went over some railroad tracks there and no problems. So there's not really many compromises here. It's just those douchebags, they didn't put that 8-speed dual clutch with this phenomenal V6 engine. That is just such a disappointment. The only other thing is, if you have more money to spend, you can seek out the A-Spec. You will be paying a lot more money for that vehicle, especially in today's market, but that could be worth it to you. Okay, going around this little circle here. It can understeer when you push it. I mean, that's to be expected. It's a front-wheel drive vehicle predominantly, but yeah, this the body control on this is so well contained. So, I mean, conclusions before we get into the interior segment. I love driving this car. It's always been a fantastic vehicle for me to pilot around, and I really appreciated my family's 2016 TLX. I personally had the 2010 TSX. That was one of my first cars. And the main differences between like the previous generation TSX and these TLXs, this rides so much better. The seat quality, or the seat comfort at least, is so much better in the TLXs. And of course, the new TLX, the 2021 that I drove, it was an A-Spec model. The chassis on that, it is so good. It is almost as good as like the 6-figure AMG Mercedes cars. That's how good the new TLX's handling demeanor is. It just feels a little bit more German actually to drive, and this is like kind of a lightweight Japanese feel. The fuel economy is decent. It does have auto stop start, which you can defeat, but it's actually pretty smooth. So I don't mind having that turned on. Really just squealing the tires, which is pretty hilarious. People just look at you like you're an idiot. But you can always put better tires on this, because the tires on this is kind of jacked up, and it's 225 wide tires in all 4 corners, and it's 18-inch wheels, if I haven't mentioned that already. Not a huge difference in ride quality compared to the 17-inch wheels and these 18-inch wheels. So with that, let's go ahead and let's get into the interior segment now. Okay, I apologize for all the nutty noises because there's a lot of people driving by here, but here is the interior segment. I'm just going to walk you through this real quick. So as you can see, we have that whole dual screen nonsense here. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Seats are not too shabby, just a little bit of wear here. We have these like little marks here and there. I'll show you on the back seat. A lot of this can probably be wiped away, but just thought I would make you aware of it. But the overall design of it is definitely simple, easy to get used to. There's not a huge learning curve here. Let's just hop in. One last look at the seat. And even though it's kind of a low slung machine, getting in and out of this isn't too bad. I have the seat put all the way down and I have plenty of headroom, leg room. It's not even remotely an issue. Well, we can start it up here. I always like this this red start stop button. Very nice. There you are. No check engine lights, no real issues with it. Not a problem. And here is your 2-screen setup. And I'm not going to lie, this is pretty damn annoying to use, you know, especially when you're used to actual knobs, switches, and buttons for your HVAC controls. Yes, you have to click on it, but there is tactility here. Like, it will give you like a haptic feedback, but it is kind of annoying. I think someone mentioned you can use a voice command system to control the air conditioning.
The voice prompt can be interrupted at any time by pressing the talk button again and saying a command immediately.
Climate
After
control.
The beep, say a command.
Climate control.
After the beep, say a command.
This garbage is just so annoying. Like, I can't even
After
with
the
this.
beep, say a command.
Now I'm just gonna have to like tear this whole thing out. All right. Close that off. Anyway, not my favorite, but just get used to it. It is what it is. You do have your little heated seats right here. So there you go. Now, you have some physical buttons here that you can play with. Some of the basic controls at least. So at least you have it, but it's not perfect. Storage space, not too bad. You can definitely put a cell phone in there. You have 2 cup holders. I really like this whole setup. Just pressing the button for the whatever gear you want to be in. I think that's pretty nice. And you have the electronic parking brake. What I like is when you put the vehicle into drive and you just hit the gas, then this will automatically disengage, which is a very nice, convenient feature. You have your drive mode selection, but as you saw in the driving segment, I just like to drive around in the normal mode. It is just so inefficient in the Sport Plus modes with minimal gains in performance. Here's all of your little, this thing will actually focus and show all your little safety gadgets here. Radar cruise control and one-touch automatic windows for all 4 windows. It is not double pane glass or anything like that, but it is supremely quiet in here. I think I forgot to mention that in the drive. And you also have 2-way memory seats as well. It is a predominantly plastic interior space, but it's solid in here. There's no creaks and rattles. It's well built, and that's what I appreciate, and it's simplistic. So there you are. And I do like these steering wheel controls. Very convenient to use on a day-to-day basis. Automatic headlights. All right, you got your little plastic paddle shifters, which is a lot more fun to use in the 4-cylinder dual clutch because it's just way more reactive. But there you are. And this screen shows you some very good information. You know, it's easy to use, easy to react. Let me just see if I can put this here so there's less glare. Kind of just shows you the basic information, and that's really all I care about. I don't really need a full digital gauge cluster. You have a sunroof here as well. You have some more wear on the headlining there. You know, again, I think that can actually come out. The glove box, plenty of space in there, even with the books, so I do appreciate that. Sorry for this glare. And good space in here as well with the aux port. And I think that's enough of this. Let's go ahead and let's talk about the rear seats now. The rear seats kind of push back a little bit. That's why it's like this. But when I sit up front, there's a lot more space for the rear occupants. Let me just go ahead and adjust that. I usually like to move the seat forward and then put it all the way down and just bring the recline up. That's why I can sit so close to the steering wheel. And why I can give the rear occupant so much more space. So there you are, definitely not bad. You can fit adults back here. I am 5'11", and no real issues. It's kind of soft and padded back here, so you can actually kind of dig into the rear seat if you want, and the tow room is not bad either. And this vehicle also has like these WeatherTech rubber mats, which is nice. You have some HVAC vents in the rear. Pretty basic on the door panel trims. This white interior definitely does pop. I do appreciate that. And compared to like a Lexus ES, one of the things I really like is these seats actually fold down. So I'll show you that in the trunk segment now. There's your super handling all-wheel drive badge, and pop open this trunk. Of course, the vehicle's running, so it's got an attitude problem. Anyway, you can do it from the key fob. It only cracks open, it doesn't open all the way. But anyway, here you have it, a sizable trunk for sure. Almost the same size as like an ES, but most importantly, you can actually fold down the rear seats, which just makes it a lot more practical. No like spare tire in the back, which is pretty annoying, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's a look at the interior segment. Okay, well, I hope you enjoyed this look at a 2016 TLX with the V6 engine and the 100,000 miles that it has on it. Now you got to see kind of how it aged a little bit, right? Vehicle's not perfect, but hey, I'm sure the price will reflect whatever Cary Imports decides to sell this vehicle for. It's a solid driving machine. There's no stupid check engine lights with it. It's not doing anything weird. It does idle perfectly. It doesn't do anything strange. All the tech seems to work in here as well. And there's not an insane amount of creaks and rattles. It's just the cosmetic stuff, like the wheels being curved, some of the interior mischiefs, and I think a little ding on the driver's side door here. But other than that, this is a car that I've always enjoyed driving. But I will say I wasn't super thrilled about driving this regular V6. I love driving the A-Spec. It puts such a smile on my face. And I do think that the 9-speed ZF responded a little bit quicker, a little bit better in that vehicle compared to this 2016 non-A-Spec kind of regular V6, right? But hey, the engine is super smooth. It's going to be more than enough power for you for a daily drive. But what I really like is the comfort, how it doesn't sacrifice any of that while still handling great, while still being very comfortable, even though it does not have double pane glass. Quiet, comfort, and enough fun for most people. Just put some legitimate tires on here. I kind of recommend like a Continental Extreme Contact. I think you should be pretty happy with that. And for the most part, yeah, solid car. And you just need to get used to this dual screen nonsense, and that's really the only other major con that I have with it. But once you get over that, buy this thing with the warranty, enjoy it. It's a good looking vehicle, very modern, very sleek, and very practical. So I will leave Cary Imports information down in the description box. Thanks again for watching this video. Take care and goodbye.